What do you do when you feel anger and hatred towards another person? At first, you would curse them, wish them bad luck, and maybe cause them harm one way or another. But then, you remember, you're not like that. You didn't want to be like the people who judge too fast, lash out, and act on every ugly impulse. You're better than that, so you choose to understand and let go. But where does all that hatred go? All that anger you've been denying, refusing to feel, it all comes back to you. Without allowing yourself to direct it to others, all that anger turns inward, and when you repeatedly give everyone the benefit of the doubt, that hatred grows, until eventually, it bubbles up. But even in that moment, you still refuse to let hatred spew out. So instead, anger turns into helplessness. Not knowing what to do with all those feelings, you cry instead. Then you realize this was not the peace they spoke of when they told you to let go. So why? Resentment piles up and it leaks out. You become frustrated and negative, and before you know it, you become the very thing you hate. Even then, you believe hatred is wrong, like we all do. But what if it isn't? Sometimes, acknowledging that you've been hurt, allowing yourself to feel anger is exactly what you need. Not to consume you, but to help you process. Sometimes, confronting those ugly feelings is healthier than pretending they don't exist. But that's easier said than done, right? After all, our own choice not to hate is rooted in our own intimate reasons. From our earliest days, we were taught to be compassionate, be kind, be understanding, not to bear hatred toward another. For some of us, this is why we choose to let go of grudges. But for others, our reasons may be more personal. Maybe there was once a time in our lives when we saw what the cost of hatred is. Maybe you saw someone be the victim of a misunderstanding. You saw someone mocked, cursed, turned into a rumor, and even others going out of their way to make that person's life a living hell. And you can't help but scratch the back of your head, wondering why this person was hated. Because all he did was exist. Witnessing this cruelty, you felt bad, yet you couldn't do anything. So that person sank deeper and deeper until it broke him. But even when that happened, no one batted an eye. Because to those people, their hatred was justified. For some, this may be their reason. Seeing someone be judged so harshly for no reason made them understand that we can never know someone's side of the story and our own judgment towards another may be misplaced. But for some people, that person who was resented for simply existing was themselves. Being on the receiving end, they understood the weight of casting animosity toward others. Every time they feel tempted to hate another, that image of themselves from before, helpless, alone, and judged, pops into their heads. And that's why they promised themselves never to be like the person who once hurt them. But when we promise ourselves never to hate, we don't erase the feeling, we only bury it. Those feelings really never disappear, we just repress them, thinking we've gotten rid of them. And it shows in ways we don't even notice. It started with us extending our understanding to those who wronged us, separating people from their actions and other things we tell ourselves. Until more time passes, that repressed anger builds up. And with no way to express it, we get frustrated, not knowing what we should do. So instead of doing anything at all, we learn to hate ourselves instead. Our compassion towards others become a reason to minimize ourselves just to give others a chance. We start thinking, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just too weak, too sensitive to other people's words and actions. I should be better. I should try to understand more. How can I try to hate other people when I, myself, am the problem? Guilt and shame wash over us because we believe that no one ever deserves the rage we're holding inside. And yet, that choice leads to the opposite of what we intended. When those feelings become trapped inside of us, they inevitably have to come out, whether through sudden helpless cries or in the small ways we act. hatred and anger leaks out. We become frustrated and pessimistic. Every little thing seems to tick us off, and before we know it, we become different from the person we promised to be. Now, it's not just you whom you hate, but everything else too. Isn't it ironic? The choice not to hate made you become hatred itself. So, if denying anger only turns inward, then what should we do? Maybe it was never about burying anger. Maybe it's about confronting it. Yet it goes against all you know and have experienced, doesn't it? How could bearing resentment toward another person ever be a good thing? Well, it's not about hating for the sake of hating. It's about allowing ourselves to feel it. Not to let resentment consume us, but to process it. To acknowledge when our boundaries were crossed. To recognize that people hurt us without seeking vengeance. To allow ourselves to look at those people and say, yeah, they've wronged me. And I'm allowed to feel upset about what they've done. No excuses, no justifications. Simply recognizing the pain they've caused. In a way, expressing anger in a controlled way dispels further, more intense rage. It prevents us from bottling up. Give yourself permission to see people as they are. And yet, some might say this isn't the way to go. That holding on to hatred won't let you move on. But what if letting yourself feel is the first step toward truly moving forward? Many people say that you should just let go. That's how you can truly move on. If you keep holding on to your discontent with someone, you'll be held in the present while everyone else moves into the future. But as we know, letting go often isn't letting go at all. It's keeping it locked away until it all comes rushing back one day. So, how does one truly let go? Well, it's the same as moving on from heartbreak, abandonment, or any other painful experience in life. We face those memories. We feel those experiences. And while it may hurt and it might make us cry, we learn to face them, unpacking the baggage we've all been carrying. Letting go isn't pretending the feelings never existed. It's passing through them, not merely passing by. It's embracing them with both arms and letting everything that builds up inside of you out. Hating isn't always a bad thing. It's what you do with that hatred. Some people express it in the most visceral way, leading to outbursts and physical violence. It's how we see it, a primal emotion rooted in aggression. Yet, rarely do we talk about the people who feel this anger, this hatred, and are still able to contain it, process it, and redirect it in ways that don't harm others. They have their own outlets. Some write songs about how they get mad. Some express it through their painting. Some hurl their frustrations towards a punching bag. And some use it as fuel for something greater. It's not always obvious because this kind of controlled anger doesn't leave destruction in its wake. It doesn't leave wounds, scars, or broken relationships in its path. So when I say it's okay to hate people, I mean, it's okay to feel that anger without it defining who you are, to yourself and to other people. So find your outlet, express it safely, and reclaim control over your emotions. That's how you can finally hate without becoming someone you hate.